And all of y'all that's down with her, why don't you all form Voltron? Voltron! We going to go against the green-eyed Genie. He said he is the creator of hip-hop, but we don't want to acknowledge that. Creator hip-hop. Us! Grab you by the neck, spin you around, snap your neck. Us! Can you read? Can you read? Disco King Mario. Disco King. How would you make a name Disco King if you in a hip-hop era? Let me say that again. How could you make a Disco King name if you in a hip-hop era? Do you go to a soul food restaurant and think it's a Chinese restaurant? Do you go to a soul food restaurant thinking it's a Chinese restaurant? To the pioneers. This is to all the pioneers. Let me say names. Remember, respectfully, I gotta mention y'all. Grandmaster Caz, I see you got your podcast. Salute, my brother. Remember, I can't mention Breakout. Start rocking them. I can't mention them because they down with my camp. We Mighty Zulu Nation Organization, Breakout and Barron, Rock, they from our camp. So I can't mention Breakout and Barron in them. And Biggs in them. They from my camp. Okay? But everybody else, over there with the Kool Herc side. My good friend Theodore, my good friend Master Rob, my good friend Busy B, all of y'all. Let me say something to all of y'all, Caz. I see my man JDL ain't looking too good. That had me crying in the last video. So let me ask you this then. When y'all wasn't rapping, you know where I lived at? I come from Ogden Avenue, down the block from Kool Herc's building. Cedric Avenue, you go right over to cross Bronx, and you shoot down Ogden Avenue. You don't remember over there, legends over there? Everybody know them. David Black, Steve DeBerry, David Black, Steve DeBerry, Fat Bobby with the mo. We used to be up on Ogden Avenue, Boo Boo, Eldris, legends. We over there on Summit Avenue, University Avenue, Ogden Avenue, Nelson Avenue, Creston Avenue, before any Busy B, before any Grandmaster Caz, before any Grand Wizard Theodore, before all of y'all. No Master Rob, no Kevin Cav, no none of y'all. No none of y'all. And I was doing the music when I was over there because I had left Bronxdale doing the music over there, and my sister lived over there on Nelson Avenue, who I lived with, my oldest sister. Let me ask all your pioneers this. Y'all don't like to mention me, right? I don't need you to mention me. My school records and my dates and time goes before all of y'all. And when y'all get caught in your ways, and you're doing these hip-hop podcasts, much respect. You don't gotta mention me. Document speaks for itself. You ever heard of Steve Stouts? That's Jay-Z's partner, Steve Stouts. Steve Stouts is Jay-Z's partner. As a matter of fact, Steve Stouts is the one that got that big job with Madison Square Garden by getting all of the players and entertainers with Madison Square Garden. Steve Stouts. I was talking to Steve Stouts in 2001. See the money? Steve Styles in 2001. So where those in Bronx still talking hip-hop? I was talking with a multi-millionaire back then. Steve Styles, that's Jay-Z's partner. That is number and everything. That's Steve Styles, Jay-Z's partner. That got Jay-Z all of the millions with all the endorsements. That got 50 Cent the Nikes. That got all the rappers, all the sneaker deals. That's Steve Styles. I was talking with Steve Styles in 2001. Who can see me? Who can see me? Yo, Herc, you got your Grammy? And all of y'all that's down with Herc, why don't you all form Voltron? Voltron! We going to go against the green-eyed genie. He said he is the creator of hip-hop, but we don't want to acknowledge that. Creator hip-hop. So why don't you come see me? Why don't you come see me then? Why you delaying? What's the delay? Social media is free. I'm waiting. What you want? Where you at, Herc? Where your pioneers at? Why you waiting? What's the delay? What's the delay? Come battle me. Why? Why should I argue? Huh? Why should I argue? I don't need to. My documents prove my claim and who I am against the world. Against the world! And it's so far. Enough is enough. And you know what? The major media is going to force all of your hands to battle me. But I'm on my job. I'm on my job. And you can't see me. And Kool Herc, I told you this. I knew this day was coming, Kool Herc. I knew it. I knew it from the beginning years ago when Curtis Blow put me on that concert. Shout out to Curtis Blow, put me on the concert in Central Park. I let him hear that record, how hip-hop started. He never heard nothing like that in his life. Curtis Blow. He listened to that record. Nobody never made a record like that. He said, yo, Genie, I'm putting you on the concert in Central Park. And he did that. Curtis Blow. Shout out to my man, Curtis Blow. I love you, bro. Love you, man. From the heart, man. Thank you, man. Here go my movie right here. Huh? Can you read? Remember Tupac and Biggie that died? The producers did my movie. All you gotta do is read it. Michelle DaCosta. Look where my fingers at. Read right there. Read that line right there. There go my image right there. The Prince of Hip Hop. 1815 Bruckner Boulevard, pioneers. 1815 Bruckner Boulevard before Africa Bambaataa started. That's why I go before everybody. Now come on. And Kool Herc, I love you, bro. All you had to do was keep your word. You said you had my back. But everybody ran their own way. Huh? The money was good? Huh? The money was good? Well, now y'all gotta talk to the world and prove I'm not the creator of hip-hop. I started the Disco Fever. The legendary Disco Fever, the best club ever in the history of hip-hop. It's never been nothing like that till today. Ever. I started that. You don't remember how I told you how I did it? I was coming across the street from pickpocketing in the A&P, the supermarket A&P, and I was taking out the money, out the wallet. And when I got across the street, it's a furniture store. And Tussie was coming down the stairs. And I asked him, I said, yo, the furniture place is moving? He said, yeah, why? I'm making this a club. I said, oh yeah? He said, why? You don't think it's a good idea? I said, we got the skating rink down there, McComb's Jerome skating rink. McComb's, which is right down the block. From 167th Street, you go right there to McComb's, which is the skating rink where we all be up in there fetching all of that. So he said, if you promote it, I'll let you in. That's what he told me. That's what he told me. Tootsie, not Sal. See, Sal's later on. Sal is Tootsie's son. So Sal run the fever. But before that, it's Tootsie. Now everybody at the fever, Starsky came. Blesses the Starsky, he fell asleep. I'm talking about Lovebug Starsky. Look in the sky, look in the tree. Who do you see? Starsky. Who do you see? Starsky. Another ba 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 bang ba bang diggy 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 to the bang bang. This is a message to the whole world. You know the pioneers come from the Bronx. I'm saying before they started, before they was in existence. Green-eyed Genie. And I'm asking them to form Voltron and come against me. Come? What's the delay, Mr. Herc? And your pioneers? I can feel you got that envy. You wasn't around when we had the guns, when me and Africa Bambaataa was riding around with the guns, pioneers. You wasn't rapping then. You wasn't out with no DJ equipment then, pioneers. When me and Africa Bambaataa was riding around with the guns, when we was in Yonkers, when we was in Mount Vernon, when we was all over the Bronx and all of that, up in Evander High School, when we was over there in 123, when we was in Bronxdale, when we was in Monroe, when we was in Samuel, when we was in Bronxdale rocking. When Disco King Mario fell off, his origin, it passed. This is my friend that taught me the karate, that my mother gave him the application and how he became Disco King Mario. Mario was a disco DJ. How hip-hop is going to be in 71. So if hip-hop was in 71, that means that when we was going to the shrimp box and I was going to Jack in the Box as a little kid. I'm a little kid in 71 going to Jack in the Box. You know the burger Jack in the Box right there on White Plains Road. Me and Kenny, we walking to Jack in the Box like this as a little kid. Bronxdale saying hip-hop is in 71. 71 is when my brothers and them is walking around with the gang, the black spades on the back of their jacket, and Snoopy is breaking bricks, and we in Pathmark with Mr. Right in 71, 72, 73. Where's hip-hop at then? You mean to tell me that I can say anything out my mouth? Listen to this. That's like me saying, I'm hanging off the Grand Canyon. And they go, oh man, you ain't hanging off no Grand Canyon, that's a Photoshop. And then what I do is, I pull out the real picture, the live picture, that I'm on the edge of the Grand Canyon. See that right there, Ron? I'm on the edge of the Grand Canyon, of the untold story of hip-hop existence. And then I pull out the real. So now, to the pioneers, and Mr. Kool Herc, I never disrespect none of y'all. And I never will. I have no reason to. I created the culture. Hip-hop. I did that. I did that. Oh, so let me tell you. So, you go to Jew Man, you buy your sneakers, and you just go over there to the thing with some electronic equipment. A party's only 4 hours. So where y'all at after the party? Ladies and gentlemen of the world, I want you to dissect this knowledge and wisdom and just let it marinate in your mind. Now, let me say that one more time, and I want you to catch the lie all these years. Now listen. A party It's around 4 hours back then. So it's the weekend. It's 7 days in a week. So that means everybody's waiting for the weekend to finish the weekday. 5 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Right? Friday and Saturday is the parties. Kool Herc over there, Grandmaster Flash over there at the Black Door, Kool Herc over there at the PAL, Grandmaster Caz and numbers over there at the Ecstasy Garage, Theodore and us is over there at the Sparkle, Bambotta's over there at Bronx River, and Breakout is uptown at the T Connection. All of those parties is only 4 to 5 hours the most. So when you pack that equipment up, where you at on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? See, we back in the street. See, we back on blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks. So where is your status in the streets where everybody's at when it's the summertime and everybody getting money? You got to be walking through some blocks and your name has to be ringing bells. Your name has to be ringing bells through these different blocks all over the Bronx. So where y'all at after that? After you pack up that equipment, I need you to answer that. You gotta be somewhere. You gotta be fly somewhere. And you gotta be fly scrumptious. And you gotta be somewhere where your name ring bells. So where you at? Creston Avenue? I'm legendary over there. Where you at? Over there in Forest? Ronald and Donald over there in 163rd Street. I'm legendary over there. I'm legendary up in Laconia. I come up, me, Bam Bam, and up in the Edenwald and all that. We used to go to jail together. Me, Bam Bam, and all of us be fighting and all of that. I lived up in Gun Hill Road. We talking about Cozy Corner. Bronxdale, ain't nobody in Bronxdale really selling nothing on no Cozy Corner. Cozy Corner is up from Bronxdale. Very few from Bronxdale was over there. Me, Reggie Malcolm, and all of them, they was over there a little bit, but Reggie Malcolm and them, they never really stayed on no Cozy Corner, because Cozy Corner, that was really everybody from Soundview getting money over there. My man Country Rob, my man Fly Country Rob taking thousands and all that. Me and Country Rob used to be together and all that. He liked to talk slick, and he got a major story, because he be rolling in with those cats from Harlem, with Nicky Barnes and Guy Fisher and all them, and he always talk about small poor. My man Country Rob, that's my man. We used to be together all the time. So where these guys from Bronx, they're no flamboyant, nobody know them nowhere. So your pioneers, where else you at? Where you on Boston Road? Where you on 169th Street? That's my aunt's projects. That's my aunt's projects. You're not in Patterson projects, because that's Chubby and all them. You're not in Millbrook projects, because my older brother lives in Millbrook projects when me, Yogi and us used to be out there in Millbrook projects right there on Cypress Avenue. And you're not in Mitchell's projects, because nobody's hanging in Mitchell's projects. Only one Flash is in the gym rocking Mitchell's projects. And you're not Morris Senior projects, because that's just a couple of buildings. So where your pioneers at? Where your name ringing bells? Where your name ringing bells when it ain't no music? I'm asking a question. It's not a trick question. So when I say I'm the creator of hip-hop, why I'm at all the parties? Why everybody know me? And y'all don't go to all the parties. Y'all just go at the parties that y'all at. All the pioneers did that for years. They're not in Bronx River because they're scared of the shootouts. Or you're going to get stuck up. I never was seeing them at the Herc parties, the pioneers. I used to be at the Herc parties all the time because I live over there. And I go back to where I used to live on the east side with Bambotta and Bronxdale. Now, when I said hip-hop come from Bronxdale, the birth of hip-hop, I'm talking about me. It's nobody else. Why nobody got no records? Why nobody got no records ever coming out of Bronxdale? Why nobody got no records, nothing ever on that side? The only one that ever made a hit record over there in the Soundview section was GQ. Let the feeling flow all through your body. GQ. And then after that was Lord Tariq. Uptown, baby. Uptown, baby. We go down, baby. That's it. Nothing else. Nobody got no talent and over there with nothing. Mitch Green over there and Peter Williams did karate. Mitch Green did the boxing. But I'm talking about in this industry we call hip-hop. Nobody got nothing, no hit records ever but me. I got massive hit records right now. You could go. I didn't even release my new album, and it's really done. And I'm getting ready to release that. So now, let's go back to my movie that went #1 in London, The Prince of Hip Hop. So why no hip hop, no movie was done about nobody else but me? Huh? I got a lot more to say. I'm a righteous man, but I do this for exercise. For exercise to stay in shape.